Kendall Radio Show. Let your voice be heard, time to elevate. Call in on Talk to Me Tuesday. Let your voice be heard, time to elevate. 95.9 FM, tune in and don't wait. What's on your mind Tuesday? Streaming on WOBU.org and 95.9 FM. And don't just listen, jump in and be the conversation. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You tuned in to another episode of Strategic Moves Radio Show with Kendall and Dr. Heather E. Burton. Dr. Burton isn't in today because she is preparing for her big weekend this weekend. She has a women's conference that she's doing, and we talked about that earlier in the week. If anybody who wants some more information about that, we'll try to make sure we get that over to you. But she has a big program she'll be doing this week, and she's going to this weekend where she's bringing in a special guest, going to be doing some taping of her podcast and a few other things this weekend, and she's preparing. So while she's preparing, we took this opportunity to bring in some of the fellas because there's a big topic that's going on in our city that we wanted to talk about today anyway, because it's the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, they're leaving Cleveland. They are up out of here. Not going to be here no more. They're moving to another city, and they're going to keep the name. They're not going to change their name to the Brook Park Browns. Thank goodness. They're going to keep the name Cleveland. So I got a special guest in the house today who we're going to be talking to about the Cleveland Browns. We're going to talk about the move, and we're going to talk about the new deal. I ain't going to call it the big, beautiful deal. I ain't going to punish us that way. But we have a deal that was cut here by the owners of the Browns as well as the mayor of the city of Cleveland to try to help salvage something that's going to happen over there on that property. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with our guests. But before I do that, I got to shout out to Miss Unicorn to tell us what's going on in the hood. Anything that's in the hood that's all good that we need to bring to anybody's attention, any meetings or anything that people need to make sure they go to that's happening.
Yes. Actually, this Thursday will be a debate for Ward 10. If you've been keeping up with what's been going on in the world and the words. Yes. We went from 17 to now 15. So Collinwood area is one of those areas that kind of was merged together. So Palinsik and Harrison will be going at it this Thursday at the library for anyone that is interested at 5:30. That's Lakeshore Branch. That's the Nottingham Lakeshore Branch. And as well, I'll be remiss, of course, to not mention the 30th anniversary of the Million Man March that took place last Thursday. And were you there?
No.
In like real time, 30 years ago?
Oh, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Listen, I didn't go. I participated because they had that so organized that if you didn't go, there were all kinds of stuff that was going on. But no, I wasn't part of the Million, but I was a part of it.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love that you were still able to be a part of it, even though you didn't go down to D.C. And, of course, I'm a vet, so I'm excited because Veteran Day is coming up November 11th. And if you want to do anything special in that realm, please let me know. I'm definitely going to be working on some stuff. Shout out to Mr. Watt over there at Riddle, always making sure veterans have resources, have places to go if they need anything that they're not able to get from the VA or any resources just in general. So stay tuned because Veterans Day, we're going to do something special.
Hey, how did it go with that meeting that you had?
Wasn't the emergency community meeting?
The emergency community meeting. How did that turn out? And won't you update everybody with the outcomes or anything that happened of that?
So it was beautiful. The next one will be at City Church November 11th, the same time at 5:30. That will be our second which will be annual. It's going to be a monthly community meetings. And the first one went amazing. A lot of people showed up. A lot of people participated. And a lot of people voiced what it is that they were feeling and wanted to see in their community as well. So I'm grateful, and I want to continue that conversation.
Are y'all going to stay in that Ward 10 community, or y'all going to move this around, or what's your plan?
So initially, for now, we're going to stay in the Ward 10 area and community. We will definitely, as we grow, we will branch out to other wards. We will branch out to other parts of Cleveland because this is an initiative that we kind of wanted to stay centered in where it kicked off at for now until we are built out enough to be able to kind of service and wrap in other neighborhoods.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's where it begins. It begins with those type of things, and they need to multiply. So while you're doing it there, they could be doing it somewhere else on the south side of town, west side of town, all over the place.
That's the goal. That is the goal. The goal
Right.
is for us to get back to community that knows each other.
Correct.
A community where you know your neighbor, you know their children, you know where they're supposed to be and where they're not supposed to be. And us be comfortable and have enough trust within each other in the community to say, hey, if you are correcting my child, I know it was because whatever reason, let's talk about it, and not say, hey, don't talk to my kid, all that. We got to get rid of it. We got to get rid of it because we are now in this space and climate that we don't know each other. We don't talk to each other. We have no connection to each other at all. We have to come out of these silos and get back to community that knows and love on each other.
That's awesome. That's Unicorn with What's Happening in Cleveland.
What's happening?
All right, we're going to make that a segment. What's happening in Cleveland? All right, here we go. We're going to get started with our program today. We got a couple of people in the studio. I kept them. One, you're going to always know his voice. You can't miss it. That's Pastor Aaron Phillips. He's in the house today.
Good morning, my dear friend Ken Dow.
Yes, everything.
Just say good afternoon, huh?
You could say afternoon. You want to put your hands on?
Okay.
All right, there you go. We just want to make sure you hear yourself. And we have our special guest. Special guest in the house today he's a councilman in Cleveland right now. His ward is Ward 16, correct? It's Cleveland Ward 16. I've known this gentleman for quite some time. Before he was a councilman, now he's a councilman out there doing big things out there in Cleveland Ward 16. But I brought him in today because we have a situation here in Cleveland that we've been dealing with, and that situation is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns is going to be leaving. And for those people who knows the Browns leaving the city of Cleveland and just leaving that site, you know, is I guess you could say another part of when you say life goes on and wonder what it's going to be like. You know, I tell my kids and everything that we knew what life was before there was color TV, black and white TVs, before, you know, we were the first of a lot of stuff. First, the microwaves, all these kind of things we were the first of. iPads, we watched CDs, cell phones, all of that. So it's a thing to know what it was like to not have, to see how it developed and see how it developed into other things. I can remember being a kid going to the very first stadium that was down there, the original stadium where the Indians and the Browns played in the same stadium, going down there doing concerts and things of that nature. And when I got old enough to be a kid, we figured out how to even sneak in that stadium. If you really knew what was up, you could look how to sneak in the stadium. And I'm telling true stories for people who know that, because back in the day, they used to let you walk in with big old coolers. You could carry whatever you wanted to drink, eat, or whatever into the stadium. I mean, people would come in there with big old baskets and coolers and stuff in there. And then it got to a point where they stopped telling you to bring in your coolers and that kind of thing. And you could just say, hey, I got to take my cooler to the car. They'd be like, go ahead. You walk right in. It was open. It was 80-some thousand seats down there. Huge stadium. Everybody can come. Indians wasn't playing like nothing back then, and Browns was trying in that stadium. But now that's gone. That stadium and all those memories of the old. Now, I didn't have many memories of the new stadium because I didn't go down there much. All of them was in the old one. But now that one's gone, and we get in this new thing that's there. And the gentleman here today, reason why I did that long intro for him is that somebody who was like I was from the very beginning. Like, no, the stadium can't leave for a whole lot of reasons. And I brought him on today because it looks like that fight is over with. It looks like the Browns is going to be leaving the city of Cleveland, moving to Brook Park. And I guess there's a deal that was on the table from the owners to say, hey, we're not going to leave y'all high and dry. We're going to give you something. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what that something is. So without further ado, I want to introduce Councilman Brian Kazy to the program. Sir, how you doing, sir?
I'm well, Ken.
There you go. Excellent.
Good, and that was, I think it was Gate D, the second turnstile over.
Yes.
Never worked, and you could get in there during an Indians game at the time.
You know, back in the days, they used to let you come in the Indians game for free. What was like the seventh inning or so? You could just go in there. You just walk on in. They said, go on in, and you could just sit on down.
Yeah, well, that was a stadium that seated 85,000, and you
yes.
2,000 people down there for a game, so they were just happy to see bodies anywhere.
I'm going to give y'all one last story on that, then we're going to dig deep. the old Indian Stadium. I was lucky as a kid. The way they used to pick out who the bat boy was for the Indian. You had to write an essay
and
the plain dealer, and you get to pick who it was. I was lucky enough to grow up with a guy who got that job. He wrote an essay to become the Indians bat boy. His name is Michael Haddon. Everybody who might know him, but yeah, Michael Haddon out here. He was the Indians bat boy. And for years, he did that. I think you do 2 years. You do the visiting team 1 year, and then you do the other team. We was just amazed because he got a chance to keep all those uniforms from the visiting teams that came in. But moreover, we played baseball religiously growing up. And he would come home with like bags of balls because once they hit a ball in the dirt, it got scuffed. They would just throw those balls away or give it to him. And they would bring that stuff home. And we grew up playing with those type of baseballs. We grew up playing with bats that were cracked, like when they would crack a bat and those kind of things. He would bring them home. We would tape them up, and we would actually use them. So I got a lot of experience and a lot of things coming out of the old stadium, as well as the just that experience of dealing with that. So, Councilman, that's all gone now.
Ken, I think that's now Dr. Michael Haddon, right?
Yeah, Dr. Michael Haddon. Yes, yeah. Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Cole, there was nothing like old Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. So where we go from here, Councilman? What's going on? What is this deal? What's happening? How much money? How does it break down? I know y'all had a meeting yesterday, so tell the folks what's going on.
So the Haslams and
also, so when you on your mic, yeah.
All right, so the Haslams and Mayor Bibb agreed to a deal that allows the Cleveland Browns to leave the city of Cleveland. And that deal includes, for the city, it's going to sound like a lot, but when we break it down, it's really not going to be a lot. The Haslams will agree over a period of time to provide the city with $100 million. $25 million of that up front, which, according to the term lease, is due December 1st. Then they're going to allocate, in today's dollar, $30 million to tear the stadium down and make it pad ready. And then there's payments over a period of time, for the next 10 years. The thing about the $100 million is that it's for lakefront development, right? Or when we get later on after 2029, we get into the payments that'll be yearly. The Haslam Sports Group have a say in how we allocate those dollars. So it's not like the city of Cleveland is getting $100 million up front and say, hey, do what you want, fix your roads, invest in some infrastructure. Everything is geared toward the lakefront. And the question is that are we too obsessed now with the lakefront that we're forgetting about Kinsman, Old Brooklyn, Collinwood, West Park? Are we forgetting the normality of the city, right? The needs of everybody else in the city aside from the lakefront. So I kind of compare this to having a girlfriend that no longer loves you, that no longer wants to be with you, and you're trying to hold on. But then one day you wake up and you're like, I'm done with her, right? Let her go. And I think that's what the city of Cleveland needs to do with the Haslams, right? They no longer want to be in the city of Cleveland. Now, part of this agreement is that we know that their lease ends in 2028, after the 2028 season. Part of this agreement that the mayor came up with the Haslam is that we allow them to do a 2-year lease extension, right? So if their playground in Brook Park is not completed, by the time the 2029 season rolls along, we're still saying, hey, you can stay on the lakefront for up to 2 more years. For me, why would we make it easy on them, right? They're not doing, and they haven't done much for the city of Cleveland in regards to giving back. Their biggest thing that we keep hearing is they've redone fields for CMSD. Well, they've owned the team for 12 years. We know they bought the team for $1 billion 12 years ago. The team is now worth $7 billion. So in the 12 years that they have owned the team, they have increased their value $500 million a year. And their give back has been to redo 6 fields for CMSD.
How much did they pay? I ain't gonna say we, because that was their money. How much money did they pay Deshaun Watson?
Well, and that's another thing, right? So the Haslams think they think more of Deshaun Watson than they do the city of Cleveland and the residents of the city.
Because I'm sure they wasn't like a.
So they paid him $230 million
That's what I thought.
guaranteed,
Guaranteed.
and they're giving the city of Cleveland $100 million to leave. So you tell me where the priorities lay.
So let's talk about that. I'm going to break it down a little bit because I think, in all fairness with everything, I think there's negotiation in everything. The Haslams are business people and they billionaires for a reason. And that is because they are strong negotiators and trying to get what they need. We done been down this route before as the city of Cleveland is concerned because we went through it with the first time with Art Modell and the Browns leaving. My first question to you is, can the Haslams just say, you know what, I'm done with y'all. I'm going to pack up my stuff and we're just going to move out of Cleveland, out of Ohio. It's our team. We can go somewhere. Can they do that?
So there's a couple of different moving parts to that one, which is why we had the Modell Law.
Okay.
Right. When Art Modell decided to pick up the team and move to Baltimore, right. Then Senator Kucinich at the time passed what we called the Modell Law. Now, the reason that Modell Law was passed was because the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland were getting hosed, right? So we wanted to make sure that the taxpayers and the public financing that goes into stadiums is always going to be protected, right? So we attempted to use the Modell Law to keep the team in the city of Cleveland, or if for no other reason, to protect the taxpayers. Because the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland, right? Not Brook Park, not Lyndhurst, not Cleveland Heights, not Westlake, Cleveland have financially supported that stadium since its inception. So we have estimated that we have put in somewhere upwards to $700 million that we have spent over the course of the time. Now, remember, when the team left, there was such an outcry, not only by Cleveland Browns fans, residents of the city of Cleveland, but other members around the NFL as well. How could you leave Cleveland, one of the original founding franchises, without a team? So when the NFL agreed to bring a team back, we were kind of handcuffed, which is how we got into for the city's perspective, the worst deal that a city could have, and the best deal for an owner, right? So we were kind of forced to put the stadium up, right? We had a very short time frame that we had.
I remember that.
We had to be ready to go by the '99 season.
I remember all of that.
Yeah. So we can't blame the city or the mayor at the time or the residents for doing what was the right thing to do. And that's when the Modell Law became effective, so that we could protect the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland. Now, we know that law, the way it was written, was ironclad, okay, because the Haslam Sports Group used that same law to purchase the Columbus Crew. When the Columbus Crew, Major League Soccer, in Columbus, was going to move, the Haslam Sports Group came in and said, "We want to buy him. We're going to leave him in Cleveland, or we're going to leave him in Columbus." And the governor, the attorney general, and the Haslam Sports Group actually were suing the previous owners not to leave Columbus.
Wow.
And it kicked in that part of that was that you had to offer the team to somebody local to keep it local, right?
Right.
So the Haslam Sports Group utilized the Modell Law.
That's what
The way
I'm
it was
saying.
written.
Wow.
to purchase the Columbus Crew and to keep them in Columbus. So we were all, hey, great, this is an ironclad law. This works. But when you're a billionaire, and we're seeing this from the White House now all the way down to the local level here, when you're a billionaire, you basically get what you want because you have influence, because you have money, right? Which is a very sad thing to say.
Yes, it is.
So he knows. I introduced and passed legislation in 2024 that stated that our law director was to fully enforce the Modell Law to keep that team in Cleveland, because that would protect the taxpayers and the $700 million that we've invested. Right. But what does a billionaire do? He runs downstate, throws his money around. He gets the Modell Law changed.
Wow.
Whoa. Right. I didn't know it got changed.
Yeah, it got changed. Yeah, they talked about that.
Yeah,
in the
so
meeting
now
yesterday.
so now whereas if you couldn't move out of the city, now the Modell Law is you can't move out of the state.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I did not know.
what's good for Columbus
is
not good for Cleveland, according to Columbus.
Wow.
And and let me just chime. That's what Ken and I have been talking about this. I got to watch you the hearing yesterday. I thought you were excellent. I love your analogy about the girlfriend that wants to let the girlfriend go, but your mind tells you to let her go, but your heart says I want to keep her. That's what I wanted to talk about. How billionaires are having such an impact on all of our communities, on everything, and it's making us regular folks even have division among us, and they're getting everything they want. We, as regular folks, need to be standing together in unity against these billionaires who are just having their way and making us to have they put the council and the mayor in a precarious position. That's on Haslam, and that is a horrible thing, and that's bad for our community, and I just hate to see how our country is becoming so fascist. Because if you have money, that's what you get. What you want.
And that's what billionaires do. That's a great example, right? Because they want to take the focus off of themselves as they're getting what they want.
Exactly.
And they've got us infighting amongst each other. Who
exactly.
Why didn't we know about it? Why didn't we know about it? Who cut the deal? Who didn't cut the deal? Who I just you ever see the play Hamlet?
Yes.
Hamilton.
Oh yes.
The room where it happened.
Right.
That it just reminds me of that. Right. You get these billionaires. They sit into a room. Nobody else is around. They come out with a deal, and then we're all left holding the bag.
That's right.
So they want to take the onus off of themselves.
That's right.
Keep us fighting so that they get what they want. Because not
Absolutely.
only were they able to go down, use their money and influence the state house to change the law, they were also able to get the state to give them $600 million.
$600 million.
$600 million of money that doesn't belong to anybody.
Right.
Anybody. That money it does belong to somebody. It belongs to your grandma, your auntie, whomever, right? So it belongs to somebody, and they're just giving it away.
Now, in that particular case also, that was the first they ever did something
First time
like
they've
that.
ever
First
did
time.
that.
And there's a lawsuit, that Mark Dan, the Dan Law firm
I remember.
has filed
Right, exactly.
to see if that's actually legal. Now, the problem is that who are you going to appeal it to? Downstate?
Exactly.
He's got downstate bought and paid for.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the thing one of the things that I'm very proud about the city council is that you can't buy us, right? I mean, there's nothing you can, especially somebody like me. What are you going to offer me?
Right.
There's nothing that you can offer me. You can try to run a political opponent against me. Good luck there.
Brian, you don't want one of
I'm not
those
scared
sweets?
of it, right? I
Right.
mean,
Brian, you don't want one of those sweets down there, man?
I could care.
Well, Councilman, what I really
no.
Councilman, as a member of the community, what we really appreciate watching is democracy right before us. I love the fact that Mark, the law director, Mark Griffin, was saying there's no kings. As a matter of fact, he said there's no kings, only LeBron, because we are operating regular.
That's arguable too, though.
Yeah, I was about to say we don't dig deep into the deal before you start
I'm
giving
just saying,
everybody their props.
I'm
Let's
not
finish
giving
talking
anybody
about
props.
what happened.
I'm not giving anybody props. You guys need to listen.
We're
We are
listening.
working democracy, and that's what's happening in the city of Cleveland, which is not happening in the statewide or in the federal government for sure.
I got
and
you.
that is my point.
We would,
okay.
but I want to dig deeper into what's going on because, to your point, yes, that's that No Kings rally. They did all of that stuff this weekend to talk about that. But what we're dealing with right now is what's in our face right now, and that is the fact that there's $100 million on the table. The Browns are leaving. And to that point, I want to continue to break down as the citizens, what do that mean to us? What are we losing? I know that there's businesses downtown that are going to, that $100 million is one thing, but hell, after this is over with, it's a big old hole that's going to be sitting down there, whether they decide to tear it down and make it pad ready or whatever, it's going to be a big empty hole there.
So what it means to somebody living over on East 79th or West 178th or anywhere in between is absolutely nothing. It means nothing to them. They'll see nothing out of it except maybe in 25 or 30 years the opportunity to drive by and see whatever is going to be built there.
Wow.
Because we'll break the money down. So the first $25 million, okay, we have to understand is that stadium is not yet paid for. Right, so we still have 3 more years because it was a 30-year lease. Right, we still have 3 more years on it. So we owe about $32 million in bonds that still have to be paid off there.
All right, so we're down to about 70.
So you look at that. So even if we're to use that $25 million to finish paying off the stadium, we're $7 million in the hole because we owe about $32 million. All right. So then you take the cost of the demolition, which the Haslams have agreed to take the stadium down at $30 million. So we're not seeing any of that million. So now you're $37 million in the hole. All right, and then you're going to take the remaining money and you're going to come up with increment payments starting in 2029 of $5 million a year, which has to go toward lakefront development. And of those payments, when that money gets distributed, it has to be mutually agreed upon between the Haslam Sports Group and the City of Cleveland on how that money will be allocated.
That part right there, I want to stay on that. I want to stay on that part for a second.
So you're allowing the fox to stay in the hen house.
And so if it's something that they don't want to see there, if we want to put another Browns or whatever there, they're saying they can't do that. That's crazy.
Or better yet, what if we've gotten all the money for the lakefront and that we need and the development is going on and we say, oh, okay, we still have 2 more payments of $2 million, $4 million left. But Councilman Kazy needs a new park, up at Jefferson Park.
I got you.
The city's like, okay, but Haslam Sports Groups come in and says, well, we ain't giving Kazy a dime. We know that's going to happen, right?
I got what you're saying.
Or
that's the problem. That's what I'm talking
right,
about.
or
That's
$2 million because we need
Right.
East 63rd and St. Clair repaved, right? Haslam Sports Group comes in and says, hold on there, my friend. I never drive East 63rd and St. Clair. I ain't part of that.
That right there. Now, is in this deal. Well, let's go through all of the stuff. Then we're going to talk about what we can and cannot do. So let's keep going. So what else we got going?
And that's about how it figures out. So in today's dollars, that $100 million deal is probably roughly only about $80 million. So if you're going to take that over the course of time or pay it out like paying your loan off early,
Correct.
right? They would probably give us about $80 million. And it keeps their thumb on the lakefront. Right, because this also includes Burke Lakefront Airport.
It includes the airport.
It includes the airport. So they have redevelopment rights over Burke Lake. They have the development of Burke Lakefront Airport. Now, we don't even know if...
Now, do they have that prior to the deal?
No. This is how we found out about it during the deal, right?
So we gave up.
So we're looking at allowing them to be involved in the redevelopment of Burke Lakefront. Now, nobody's even said that we're closing Burke Lakefront Airport. But we do know that the Secretary of Aviation from Washington was in town yesterday. Only meeting with certain people. So that's coming down. That's coming down the pipe as well.
Now,
Well, that
Councilman-
came up earlier in discussions that was going to be happening. You know, I don't know. I follow you guys a lot, so I remember that whole discussion about Burt coming up for sale, and council didn't have any clue about whether or not that was going to happen. It's interesting. That's very interesting.
Now the councilman, he asked the question yesterday. I wanted to understand. But you said that the Browns are in violation of their current lease.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. So as we sit here today, right, that nobody seems to care about is that the Browns are currently in violation of their lease. Just like we got into a bad deal, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
There was an aspect of that deal that wasn't so great for the team, which is part of, in a roundabout way, protecting the city from the team ever leaving again. And part of that lease agreement is that you cannot negotiate to leave the stadium or the city until your lease expires. Okay, which was now we know that it takes a couple of years to build stadiums and everything, but it was supposed to be a back end way that team would never leave. So combined with the lease, them not being able to negotiate moving until your lease actually expired, and the Modell Law saying that you can't move the team without doing certain provisions, our founders or our predecessors 30 years ago probably thought to themselves, this is ironclad, right? This team's never going to leave the city again, and it doesn't need to leave.
We got
them.
We got him.
Right.
Right.
Well, Haslam didn't care that he broke the lease. Nobody else seemed to care that he broke the lease.
What would be the remedy?
Which was part of the lawsuits. Well, in part of this negotiation, the city of Cleveland is agreeing to drop the lawsuits. Now, if the Haslam Sports Group comes to the city of Cleveland and voluntarily, who knows, use that term very loosely, agrees to say, here's $100 million, he's probably nervous. He's got to be thinking to himself, somehow, some way, this isn't going my way. So let me, as typical billionaires do, let me divide and conquer the city and the mayor's office, the council and the mayor, offer pittance, because that's what it is. It's pittance compared to what he could give, right? And let me get what I want. Again, a billionaire buying his way out of something.
Sir. That's the
so
problem.
listen, I'm the type of guy that I'm going to go down fighting until there's not a breath left in me. You beat me to a pulp, I'll end the fight bloody with broken bones, but I'm not going to give up.
So let's go with this then, not giving up. Is this ironclad? Is this the deal? Is council votes on this? Can you say, you know what, we like this part but don't like this part? We want you to. Where are we at in that process?
So we're in the early stages of that. We know that the council has to vote on to accept any money over, to accept the money, and we have to accept or we have to pass legislation to tear down the stadium, right? We're in the early stages of what we see as the negotiating portion of this whole thing. I can tell you now that, listen, I'm a no vote because, again, I would rather go down fighting and blame another entity, whether it's the state, whether it's the court system, whether it's the, the Court of Appeals. I would much rather have somebody else tell me, no, they can leave than for me to agree to leave. One of the very last questions, if you watched the hearing yesterday, the last question I asked to Mayor Bibb was, if we agree to this legislation and we voted, are we giving the Haslams permission to leave the city? Are we saying, yes, you can leave the city? And he wouldn't answer it. Because I'm not going to go down in my legacy as an individual who represents Cleveland City, the city of Cleveland. I'm never going to be able to say, yeah, I was one of the guys who said you could leave.
That's deep. That statement right there is pretty deep, what you just said, that because as I opened up this program and I talked about my personal feelings of that, I can see how you could feel that way. And if I were in your position, based off of how y'all heard me open up this program, you can imagine I would probably be the same way. So let's talk about this aspect of it, the business aspect. There's businesses. Now, anybody who knows downtown Cleveland is that, we're kind of, when sports are going on and the Cavs is going on and the Indians, you can go to just about Superior. When you get to Superior, on the other side of Superior, going to the lake is dead. You can park over there. You can do whatever. There's a few places that's open, but everything is jumping on that side. Same thing with the Browns. They go, it's like that imaginary boundary that they just don't cross over because it's a little bit of a walk. If you're going to go, you're really going over there. So we know that one half of the season is longer for the Indians with Cavs.
Guardians.
No, excuse me. I am so sorry, y'all. The Guardians. That's how I had a flashback of the old days, so I was thinking about. So the Guardians, and you can tell that it's a longer bit of a season for them as well as the Cavs. So there's more games over on that side versus being over on the other side where we have the Browns that play and they have their games. But the dollar value is so big from one game to the other. What's your prediction from the city as far as tax revenue, and what's the impact, I guess is the proper question, of how that affects the overall city?
So it's been estimated that the Cleveland Browns generate about $30 million a year for the city of Cleveland. So take that. You talk about your $100 million. Even if we just took the revenue that we make from having game days, right? You're done in 3 years.
Wow.
Right. You know, look at it like this, right? And I don't know if our next topic is going to be on the development of the lakefront, right? We're going to take last Sunday as a perfect example.
Okay.
You're in the city of Cleveland. It's late October. It's drizzly, it's rainy, it's cold, it's 50 degrees. We still had 65,000 people walk through the city of Cleveland, get through the city of Cleveland. 600,000 souls a year visit that stadium, okay? That is a huge economic impact, right? Whether it's parking tax, which is what I believe this whole thing is over, is parking. But anyways, whether it's a parking tax, whether it's somebody getting off at Tower City, stopping to grab something to eat, going over to Wahlburgers, even visiting the casino, you know, coming through, stopping on East 4th, stopping at West 3rd. People say that that's only 10 times a year, right? But that's a lot of money generated for those small businesses. I'm not saying that they live off the Browns, but it's a healthy lifestyle when those games come running around. Just think of the mom and pop vendors who are outside the stadium, the hot dog guy who sits on, you know, Lakeside.
That's right.
You know, the people selling, you know, the T-shirts sitting out there. All that stuff's gone from the city of Cleveland. What are you going to develop on the lake that's going to bring 600,000 people a year? Let alone in only 10 days. And that doesn't include concerts when we have concerts down there. Now, we know that we can also probably better utilize that stadium because last year we had a concert over 2 days that brought in 120,000 people in 2 days into the stadium. So it's the stadium's not marketed the way it should be right now, right? Yes, we have the Browns that play there, but who is marketing it for other events throughout the year? But we know that it can be utilized because we've had Billy Joel there. You know, we've had Guns N' Roses there, right? We've had other outside forces using it for other things aside from football. That's all money generating stuff for the city.
And you said something that I just caught on to. When they moved the stadium to Brook Park, they moving it all on private property. Okay? So when everything's, just like you mentioned, the T-shirt guy, this is very important because the T-shirt guy in Cleveland now, if you're there on time, you can get your corner, you can get your part of the block. People walk by you, they sell it. When you move there, it's on private property.
You ain't going to be selling it. You ain't selling.
He's selling everything that's on that property belongs to him. And everybody who's driving there is driving onto that property where they're parking and everything that they're going to be doing their thing at. So,
well, and you know, I believe parking was a big part of this.
Wow.
You know, think of it this way. You know, the city generates, you know, a couple of $1 million a year in parking for Browns games. So the city and it's done by ordinance. I think we're like $65 to park
Right.
in a lot or something like that, which is comparable to other cities around the NFL. When you move that parking onto a private property, all that revenue goes to whoever owns that
That's
property.
correct. That's
right?
correct.
Now, there's a reason that the Haslam Sports Group doesn't want to own the stadium, right? So they won't be owning their new stadium. That's when you're coming up with this new community authority, because they don't want to be responsible for the upkeep when it's built. Now, we know that we spend about $10 million a year on average. We've averaged about, anywhere from $5 to $10 million a year.
Wow.
But we also know that the upkeep on a dome is twice as expensive.
Wow.
So he won't be responsible for the upkeep of the stadium, but 13 to 16,000 cars at $100, $125, $150 to park, because there's no parking in Brook Park. And all that money goes into
That's straight him.
the owner's pocket.
That's straight him.
That's straight him, and
So
that's
who's-
what I
who's
think all
building-
this started.
Who's building the stadium for them?
In
Brook
geez,
Park?
so far what we know is they say they're going to throw in about a couple of billion, whatever that's going to be. Who knows? The state of Ohio, the hard taxpayers of the state of Ohio, are going to produce $600 million, and then thank God for Chris Ronayne, who has not caved at all. He's saying now that he's got enough private investors to build the rest of it. Now, that's just to build it. That's not to own it, because they don't want to own it.
Right.
Right? They didn't want to own our stadium.
Right.
Because at one point I was like, sell it to them, give
Right.
it to them,
Right.
let them do whatever they want.
Correct.
Right? Leave the team here, sell it to him for $1, let him put a dome on it, let him do whatever he wants to do down there. It's his stadium. We can wash our hands of it. There's a reason he didn't want that.
No, he don't want that. And parking. We didn't have enough parking to offer him, right?
What? The parking was ours. He wanted. That's a lot of money. Think about what's 13,000 times 100, 1.3 million a game.
A game.
A game times 10.
Woo.
Now, Councilman,
and that's
what
just
is-
for football.
Now,
Right.
Councilman, what do you say to folks who cannot have this conversation? Like, if you need your petition signed to run for city council, and you go to a Browns game, you might not get your 50 signatures, because most of the people who come to those games are not from the city of
It
Cleveland.
don't matter.
So what did you say about that?
Is your money green?
No,
That's what
no.
it
So
is.
those same people. Oh, I guess.
Well, I mean,
those same
and
people are
that
gonna
was the point.
Drive out to Brook Park,
and that was the
and
point.
they're
of the
gonna.
Modell
They
Law.
don't have the same kind of sentiment value that you all
Oh, no.
may have.
That's
They're
why
gonna
we don't want them to
they're- they're
leave.
gonna
That's why
drive
you
out
don't
to
want
Brook
this-
Park, and
that's
they
why
don't
you-
have any problem with it.
Exactly
What do
why
say
you
to
don't want the stadium to leave.
Exactly. So, to your point,
yeah,
we know the majority of the people who attend a game are not Clevelanders, because the Clevelanders can't afford it.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah.
All right.
Right.
So, but Cleveland benefits from the team being here, right? So, would I want to take money from your pocket to profit for the city, or would I much rather have somebody from North Royalton taking their money to profit from the city of Cleveland, to profit for the city of Cleveland? To me, as long as we profit, it doesn't matter. But if it's other people from outside the city of Cleveland who are generating that revenue, that's okay by me. And I'm sure
That's where I'm at. Where the money comes from is where the money we benefit. Now, what you're saying, Aaron, is now those same people, to your point, who can travel, they're gonna be gone, and that's $0 that we're gonna get anyway. It's gone. Whether the Clevelanders did it or not, will they get less money? And we can get into that conversation, because the cost, which was another big thing that came out, and this came out of Mr. Haslam's mouth, is he said that the tickets were $200.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's a lot of money. Now, at first when he said it, it kind of went over my head. But then as I was preparing for the show, I thought about it. I said, well, whoa, that means if me and the fellas go, that's like $1,000 of us just walking in there.
If this room went to a Browns game out there, it's $1,000.
Right.
And that's not even
Before we even get in the car to
Before
go.
we even get in the
You
car
haven't even
together.
paid for parking yet.
And I don't know, do we have a car that fits 5 of us?
Right.
So I'm going to meet you there. So now we're taking 2 vehicles.
Right.
Right.
Now we're at 1,250.
Easily.
Now, you like to eat, I like to eat.
Yep.
I'm going to spend another $100 probably on food. There's another $500.
Got to drink. Got to have a beer.
You gotta have $30 beers.
Got to.
There's another $150 in one round of beers. You're dropping $2,000 to go to a game.
Right.
Now, I would love to see that here.
Yes.
And the city of Cleveland benefit from it, but not the one individual.
That's all.
But I'll tell you what, and I feel sorry for Brook Park because we've been through it. We've been going through it for the last 30 years. I don't think they know what's coming. I don't think they know what's coming. Now, I don't know what he's promised Brook Park, but getting back to paying for things, we know that they're going to raise their admissions tax. All the income tax that should be profiting the city of Brook Park when this thing gets built is going to go into the TIF or whatever they're going to do to give back. So for at least the next 30 years, while this lease agreement is available, the city of Brook Park is not going to profit anything because they're going to have to keep reinvesting it back into that stadium.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you as I'm sitting here, and I don't know if you're going to be here in 30 years or if you're going to be here. These two youngins may be here in 30 years. But when that lease expires out there in 30 years, there's going to be the conversation, we need to go back downtown.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So let's because we're getting close. The new development. What do you think is what? Any talks of what possibly may go down there?
We haven't seen anything. Now I have to move on to it's gone.
Right.
I'm going to tell you the one thing that I will advocate to fight for to put there, and that's some sort of music venue.
Okay.
Right. Blossom. We need to move Blossom to the lakefront.
I will agree with that because if you've ever been out to Blossom, I love the place, but it's agony getting to the stage and
it's owned by the
leaving. It's it's just agony, man.
But we have to do something.
Yeah.
Now we know if you're going to put apartments there or condos or whatever, living there. We know that your average, normal, typical Clevelander is not going to be able to afford it. So you're looking at building something for people who aren't already here, trying to get people to move here. We also know that rent's going to be $10,000 a month. Not too many people here can afford that. But what we have to do is we have to keep in mind we have to build something that is money generating for the city. We have to do something that will bring revenue to the city of Cleveland. Makes perfect sense. You've already got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there. Now I understand you got Jacobs Pavilion, but that only seats 2,000 and isn't easy to get to as well, right? But that, if you can have an open air venue with a band playing, the lake is the backdrop, playing toward the city, it would make it another destination spot.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Unfortunately, compete with Blossom. But I'd rather see something like that there that has to be money generating. And I'm not just talking restaurants and bars and stuff like that, because who knows what type of restaurants and bars are going to go there, and who knows if the average Joe Clevelander will be able to afford them, right? We know the price of food today is outrageous, but it has to be a destination. We have to make that and not just the fact that we're redeveloping it. It has to be done the correct way.
Please don't put no giant Ferris wheel there. I keep telling Aaron Phillips we're going to get a big Ferris wheel. Let me give you this as our closing up out of this thing is that I do know this about negotiations, and that is that if you want to negotiate, you got to definitely make sure you bring it in the best team and the best people. And I just think that in this particular case, when I hear people say, well, can we get more? They should have got more. I just know that even if I'm going to ask for more, I need to be in a position where I got enough people supporting me and the backing. So I'm thinking that in this particular case, going through this, is it too late for the community to get behind this thing and say, hey, we're demanding that the city get more out of this deal? And when I say that, Kazy, I'm not saying here's a perfect example. I watch you guys religiously. I haven't seen nobody come down to city council chambers on your Monday nights to complain about the Browns leaving. The same people every week gets up there saying the same thing over and over again, but no one said nothing about the Browns. And I think the reason is because there hasn't been, from the leadership piece of this, from the mayor's office and council's office side, of trying to galvanize the community in a way to bring the community in. Because I think when it happened with Mike White as mayor, he brought the community in, he brought the whole pieces in, so that when he went to negotiate, it wasn't him, it was that. And I just feel that maybe in this last piece that you guys somehow, it has to be a group. We got to gang up on this guy because we don't have $1 billion. He, like you say, he's throwing several billion at it. $1 billion for this, $100 million for that. He got it like that, and he got his boys. And us as the people, seem like we're just, I'm willing to bet you all this stuff that you said today, my listeners who out here, y'all didn't know nothing about this. I'm 100% sure y'all didn't know any of this stuff that's going on. So I'm a program where I say we need to do something. We're not just talking. So only plea I got to you is in y'all next steps, man. I really hope that council and comes together as a whole and can maybe get behind the mayor in a position that we can get a little more out of this deal. I just think that we as a city need to get a little bit more out of this, man. We just really do.
Well, listen, if it were up to me, if I were the mayor, I'd still be fighting.
Right.
Because if I knew that he came to me with the $100 million and he's running out of time, Haslam Sports Room has to start putting shovels in the ground. He's running out of time. Can't do that while these lawsuits are pending. Can't do that. So I would have drug it out until I really had the upper hand. I would not have.
That's what I said. But we the old school Lions.
We're old school.
That's where you at, Phillips.
No, what I was saying, if you were suggesting that the community doesn't know about this, the community knows. I mean, they have it on Fox News, talks about it all the time, about the Browns leaving. News. It's not a, I'm Channel 8. That's our local news, not the national.
I know.
But
so people are aware, but, it's how do you get buy-in for people? We have real other issues. Our folks need money, they need jobs, they need housing, they need food. We have basic needs in Clevelanders, and nobody's speaking to those needs, and that's my whole point. So you got a billionaire guy dividing all of us up, and he's just having his way. He's just having his way, and we need to stand together to fight against that, because if we don't do that, we're going to continue to be put in these positions where we're finding ourselves getting the short end of every stick, and it's going to become the haves and have-nots. We are moving closer and closer to apartheid than we know it, and that's what I'm talking about.
Brian, Councilman Kazy, I'm going to let you close us out. We got about a minute left, so whatever you want to say to the people, any news or anything you want to get out there, by all means, you got it.
Well, listen, don't ever hold against us our votes for the people that we represent, right? We're going to do what's best for the city of Cleveland. It will not be unanimous, but we all are going to look at this in a different light. For me, sometimes I would rather sleep at night with my integrity, knowing that I did the right thing, than roll over for anybody just for some pittance. So I know that I'm a no vote on this, but it's not because I don't want the city to get the $100 million. It's because it's only $100 million, right? And it's structured in a way that we're never gonna reap the benefit of it. And the Haslam Sports Groups know that. So I appreciate you having me on the air.
Oh, no problem.
We're gonna keep up the good fight. Probably not gonna win it, but I'm gonna go down bloody if I have to, just in order to say, you know what, I stood up to the billionaires, or we stood up to the billionaires. They got what they wanted, but they couldn't push the little man around.
I'm with you. I'm one of those others that also just, not to say any right or wrong, I'm with you on it, man. I just can't see in my heart saying I was one of the ones to say, oh yeah, we should go to Brook Park, move them out of Cleveland. I just don't.
I'll tell you what, I will be introducing a legislation that when they leave, for a resolution for them to, leave the name. Why should you benefit from the term Cleveland?
That's right.
When you didn't want anything to do with the city of Cleveland. And by the way, you can also leave the colors.
Yeah, this going to get juicy, people. So I want y'all to continue to follow us and listen to what's going on. We got the radio show and the podcast. So we may end up catching Councilman Kazy on the podcast where it's a little bit unfiltered. So make sure you guys check in. That's Strategic Moves with Ken Dow Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Until next week, we see y'all. Peace.
What's on your mind this Tuesday, Cleveland? Let's talk art, culture, politics, and business on the Strategic Moves with Ken Dow Radio Show. Call us on 95.9 FM WOVU. Stream live at WOVU.org or comment on our social media. Let's hear from you.
Still love me, I said, hey,